buzzing right there in your face. Hey Parker, I'm starting to feel, I got stung really a lot of times.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Because you're mine.
How I got interested was really from a colleague of mine 3 years ago. He kept talking about bees and how good the honey is and how amazing it is, and so I just was interested in bees and their life and what they do to make it all work. I didn't really like honey all that much, but I liked the challenge and liked the idea, and decided to get myself 3 pounds of bees and came with a UPS truck. I've never seen whatever it was, 7,000 bees at once, and I thought they were gonna come over and kill me right away, but they didn't, of course.
Started beekeeping about 10 years ago. And in fact, I was in this house. I had a swarm come in the yard, and just terrified. So I went on the line. They explained about the swarms, and they said it was the safest time to be around them. So I went outside and stood out there, and I got a little closer, and and they were still coming down. And I was right in the middle of it, and it was just a wonderful feeling. I felt like a million little fans all over me, and I smelled this like a lemon verbena smell. So, and ever since that time, I just read everything I possibly could. And bee fever, I got stuck with bee fever, and I've loved it ever since. This is native bee gone wild. This is native bee madness. You could do it just with 2 of these, you know. I'm losing half of my bees to the wasp, so I just doubled it. That's why you see so many of them. I do too much of everything.
I don't know where all these bees are coming from, but you see it, how many there are? There is a swarm coming.
Usually it's made in the spring by a hive that's very crowded, and the old queen leaves with approximately half the hive, half the honey. While they're sitting in a tree, you see this clump of bees in a tree or in a bush or on the ground, and they festoon. I love that word. There's no guard bees in a swarm, so they're really not defensive. They're already gathering pollen. I've never seen. This is the first time I've ever seen this. So you just get something new all the time. Most of the swarms in the city end up perishing. People kill them with pesticides, or lately we're trying to get them aware, that they're really safe in this state. They're safer than going to a hive, and they're very easily picked up and put them in a box.
When I saw the swarm, and he had previously told us that he would come and take hives or swarms if we found any. So I called him right away.
Those things yet.
Actually, in years past, we have a can of bee killer, so we've used that on a couple of swarms because we didn't know.
That's my first one. Right there.
Gotcha.
Never get arthritis in that finger again. Yep. That's the main reason I don't like why I don't wear gloves. My hands are getting so stiff with arthritis. I could apitherapy.
I was stung when I was young, and 3 times in one day, and I just swelled up and was starting to having to take antihistamines, but now they don't bother me. So I kind of learned not to, so I'm not afraid of them. So I'm looking forward to having one of his hives in my yard and he can collect the honey, because the flowers look amazing with the bees around.
A swarm that just lit up in Jilly's tree yesterday. We could hear them just out of nothing. They're just moving. And so all of a sudden we hear this bzzz.
La 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 la, you better stop the things you do. I ain't lying. La 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 la, I ain't lying. I can't stand it. You're running around. I can't stand it when you put me down. La 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 la.
It's always a very intense operation. You don't want to kill them. All your sensors are on, 20, 30,000, 40,000 bees around you. So your adrenaline level is really high.
So to see anybody destroy a swarm is just devastating. I really do believe that the city, like Willow Glen and a lot of the cities, are the bees' last stands. I go to the kindergarten classes and the parents listen to the kindergartners more than they do the older students. They teach their parents. We're trying to have people aware of the bees, the problems that we're having right now, and not to kill the swarms. I really do. I think you really don't start learning about the beekeeping and about the bees until you start teaching it and sharing it. Every moment that I have free is doing something with the bees. I try to keep around 200 hives, and that's way too many for one person. It's a commitment.
It's just really interesting what they do, how they do it, and it's a lot of time you spend actually with the bees, around the bees, not being with the bees, but in your mind, because you read books, how you can possibly affect positive behavior. Why don't you use nitrite gloves to get used to working without gloves? Because I'm a little bit too scared to still do it without. And then you go in and 10-20 minutes of work. I like the colors, but my wife loves the colors. The bees don't really care. I heard that they don't like red, but then my most successful hive is red, so what am I to say? My two women in the house, they was a little bit on the eerie side at the beginning. Said, well, what are you doing? Bringing thousands of bees into the backyard, blah, blah, blah. It was a big pushback for a while, but I kind of played a tricky one on them and included them. Kazan sometimes help assembling the frames or assembling the boxes, painting the boxes, so they feel more part of it. They're not afraid of it anymore, and they lie within 5 meters of them next to it, bathing suit in the sun. And one landed on Muriel once and found out that she's not a flower and took right back off. So you want to make sure that neighbors don't even know. They of course know, but they don't notice that you have bees. That, I think, is the biggest challenge.
If you wanted to start something like this in the city, you talk to your neighbors first. Most of them don't know anything about honeybees, and you explain to them that it's no different having a hive in your yard or a hive 500 yards away, or a hive a mile away, and you put them face them away from your neighbors and have the bees come into your yard, and then you share your honey. It's called bribing your neighbors so they don't say anything.
It's always a tuning and adjusting, observing, checking things out, and constant learning of what's going on and learning about them. It's really an art form, not a science. You cannot really tell. So there's a lot of interesting things in there.
I just love the bees. The way I feel, I think of the way they make me feel. When you open a hive and the hive is calm, it's just like a drug. I don't know if it's the pheromone off the bees, I don't know what it is, But I just feel this thing come over me. It just is a great feeling.
I put a spell on you, 'cause you're mine. La 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 la. You better stop the things you do.